is Bscrim 211. My topic is definition of terms. Film is a sheet of celluloid is a base of photographic sensitive materials. Another definition of the term film is a cellulose tape or plate or silver cell suspended capable of recording light. Film development is the mechanical treatment process which causes a Latin image become a visual image. Film has capacity to change the world. Since projectors first blasted black and white images into the beginning screen, film has been a powerful pulse in the human experience. Film introduced used words we never knew existed. Strangers become people we recognize. It is also considered to be an important art from a source of popular entertainment and a power medium of indoctrinating citizens. The visual basis of film gives the universal power of communication. The significance of films. Photographic films is a basic ingredient in the system of photography. Without the film, light is rendered unless because there is no film to record the light that was allowed to enter the camera. Photographic film is a chemical reactive materials that records a fixed or still image through the action of light. This is one of basic ingredients when without the film is unless because film is the one needs in recording. Typically, film is a place in a camera and light from the image being photographed is allowed to enter and focus and sometimes made larger or smaller by the camera lens. Photographic film capture the image formed by the light reflecting from the surface being photographed. The sensitive elements in the film are crystals, of most often silver halide, which can change their structure when excited by light. In black and white photographic film, there is usually one layer of silver salt. When the exposed grains are developed, the silver salt are converted to metallic silver. Color film use at least 3 layers which absorb to the surface of the silver salt, make the crystal sensitive to different colors. Typically, the blue sensitive layer is on top, followed by the green and red layers. Photographic film is also a strip or sheet of transparent film base coated on the side with a gelatin emulsion containing microscopically small light-sensitive silver halide crystals. The size and other characteristics of the crystals determine the sensitivity, contrast, and resolution of the film. Black and white photographic film. Light converts silver chloride into metallic silver. After the film has been developed, the unexpected silver chloride is removed by reaction with the sodium. Our film has used at least 3 layers, which is absorbed to the surface of the silver salt. The blue sensitive layer found in the top, and the green and the red layers. The primary function of film is to record the image focused upon it by the lens of the camera. The recorded image is known as Latin image because it is not visible in the film. When the film camera takes a picture, the camera lens briefly exposes the film strip to the clean image that's being magnified through the lens. This exposure burns as imprint into the emulsion and creates what's called a Latin image. How to load camera with the film. Hold the camera firmly on the top of the table. Open the back case of the camera by pushing the film rewind button, then pull the review crank. Pull the film leader from the film cartridge and insert the film onto the film pickup spool. Move forward the film advance lever slowly to check film is clipped with the film pickup spool. Close the back case, pressing it tightly to make the lock latch. Move forward the film by the advancing the advance lever cock and apart the. When cocking the shooter from a second time, the frame counter should be set at 1. Now you are ready to shoot.
Good day everyone, my name is Trisha Jane P. Bandianon, Bscrim 211, and I am here today to discuss my topic. My topic is all about the basic parts of the film. First, emulsion side. Films for photography are coated with a number of very thin light, and that is called sensitive emulsion layer. Sensitive emulsion layer consists of silver salts or dyes. When light is allowed to expose the emulsion, active centers combine to form a latent image that must be developed through use of photographic chemical. This requires exposure of the film in a darkness container to a series of solution that must be controlled with respect of temperature, development time, and with the appropriate agitation or mixing of the solution. Bases. Bases are cellulose acetate and other acid esters such as triacetate. Ang cellulose acetate ay yung mga yung chemical na ginagamit para ma-develop yung image. May iba pa ang chemical kagaya ng transparent, translucent, and opaque. Yun yung mga ginagamit para mag-develop ng image kasi mas mababa yung flammability nila. The next is sprocket or perforations. Sprocket or perforations are holes found in both edges of the film that is used to engage with the sprocket tooth of the camera to facilitate the forward movement or winding of the film during exposure. So, ang sprocket or perforations, yun yung matatagpuan sa magkabilang gilid ng film natin. Yun yung maliliit na holes na makakatulong para sa movement ng ating film sa loob ng camera. Film frame. A film frame is a subdivision of a long strip of film in which each image is separated from the other. Every time the film advance lever is moved, it is counted as one film frame thus separating the image. Yung film frame, yun yung nagsaseparate sa ating image. Na every time na mag-move yung lever, mag-work yung film frame. Parang i-divide niya yung image isa-isa. Film ladder. The film ladder is found at the tip of the rolled film designed to guide the photographer for easy intersection of the film onto the film take-up spool of the camera. So, yung film ladder, yun yung tinutulungan din nito yung photographer para ma-divide yung image. The next is basic components of film. So, makikita natin dito yung image. The basic components of films are gelatin anti-halation layer, anti-curl backing adhesion, promotion layer, film base, adhesion, promotion layer, emulsion layer, gelatin protective coating. The next is unloading camera with the film. Press film rewind button on the camera bottom. Step 2. Flip open film rewind crank and rotate it in the arrow direction till the film leader leaves the take-up spool. Step 3. Try to rotate the crank smoothly, without jerks and not too fast to avoid traces of static electricity on the film. Step 4. Pull film rewind knob all the way out. Step 5. Open the back of the camera. Remove the cassette holding the film rewind knob. And the last step is keep the exposed film by wrapping it in the black colored material if it is not developed immediately.
For today, I am your reporter. But before we start, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Emil Joshua Amaya, BS Criminology 221, and our topic for today is properties of the film. So ano nga ba ang properties of the film? Properties of the film are speed, emulsion, base, and color sensitivity. First, what is speed? Speed, the emulsion speed determines how much light must be used to expose the film in a given time period. Film emulsion are rated according to their IOS number or International Standard Organization, which gives an indication of the relative film speed. The IOS number incorporate both the older ASA or American Standard Association designation and the logarithmic DIN or Dutchess Industry Norm speed rating. The ASA number is directly proportional to film speed, while the DIN system uses a logarithmic scale. An increase of 3 DIN degrees represents an increase in film sensitivity by a factor of 2. Many exposure meters, especially in older American camera, are calibrated according to AAS number, while European cameras use the DIN equivalent. Films in the 50-200 IOS range are commonly used for photography. The second one is the emulsion. The emulsion of the film is light sensitive part of the film. It is the medium through which the physical and chemical changes from latent to negative image take place. In an emulsion, grains of silver halides are suspended in a thin layer of gelatin. Silver halides sensitive to light. Their characteristics are altered when they are exposed to light. One of the properties of an emulsion is resolution. Resolution refers to the resolving power of the emulsion in which it is able to produce images that retain extremely fine lines without blurring into one another. When the altered silver halides are treated chemically during development, they are converted into a black metallic silver, which remains attached to the base of the film. Silver halides which have not been exposed to light do not form into metallic silver, but instead are washed away from the base during the development process. A minimum amount of light is required to effect the change in the grains of the silver halides and form latent image. This minimum amount of light alters only a few of the grains near the surface of the emulsion and produces a barely perceptible silver deposit upon development. If less than this minimum amount of light reaches the emulsion, the silver halides are not affected, and they cannot be changed into metallic silver by development. The photographer has a variety of emulsion and base to choose from. Emulsion. First one is color sensitivity, speed, graininess, contrast, sharpness, and acutance. First one is color sensitivity. Pure emulsions composed only of silver halides reproduce only blue, violet, and visible ultraviolet regions of the visible spectrum. Thus, pure emulsion are colorblind. Emulsion are divided into four general types according to the way in which which they render color differences as brightness differences. The four general types of emulsion are monochromatic film, orthochromatic film, panachromatic film, infrared film. First one is monochromatic film. Because of its limited color sensitivity, has no use in regular photography. It is used primarily for copying. The second one is orthochromatic film. Are sensitive to the ultraviolet, violet, green and yellow-green portions of the spectrum. The third one is panachromatic film. Are sensitive to all color of the visual spectrum. And the last one is infrared film. Have a band of color sensitivity in the ultraviolet and blue. Little or no sensitivity in the yellow-green portion of the spectrum, and second band of greatly increased sensitivity in the visible red and infrared. Graininess. Negative image is composed of grains of metallic silver which adhere to a transparent base. As a general rule, slow emulsion are fine-grained and fast emulsion are coarse-grained. The tendency of silver grains to clump during development can be reduced by using fine-grained developer. Contrast is the degree of difference in tone between the lightest and darkest areas in any photograph.
Sharpness and acutance. The sharpness of a negative refers to the perception with which a boundary between areas of varied contrast is reproduced. Sharpness shall mean the perception of minimum diffusion in which distinctiveness of object in. A picture is visualized to be well defined and clear. Grain of silver halide, because of their crystal structure, tend to scatter light when they have not absorbed. This scatter, called diffusion, can cause nearby silver halides to be affected by light which has not been focused upon the lens of the camera. Diffusion can also be caused by the reflected properties of the film base. Thus, highlight will tend to encroach upon shadow in a negative image. Maximum sharpness then defined upon maximum diffusion. Acutance, on the other hand, it is a measure of tendency of an emulsion to diffuse light. It refers to the ability of photographic material to show a sharp line of demarcation between adjoining areas receiving different exposure. It usually correlates with sharpness of emulsion of high acutance will produce a very sharp image. Emulsion of lesser acutance will produce negative, which are less sharp. And this is the example of sharpness and acutance. Speed. Speed in the context refers to the film speed or emulsion speed. Film speed is determined by the degree of sensitivity of an emulsion of light, which is known as light sensitivity. A measurement of an emulsion ability to produce a certain density under controlled exposure condition. Emulsion is rated as slow and fast. Slow. Emulsion because they need more light in order to yield an acceptable image. Fast are relatively faster emulsion. Exposure Index or ASA, American Standard Association, ISO, International Standard Organization, DIN, Deutsche Industry Norm, German Industrial Standard or JSA, Japanese Standard Association. Assign numerical rating to each emulsion that is manufactured. The exposure index of an emulsion is determined to calculate the amount of light needed to produce acceptable image. This is the index exposure rating. The base. Base are cellulose acetate and other acid esters such as triacetate. Cellulose acetate films are usually called safety bases since they have the advantage of low flammability. Bases may be A. Transparent, B. Translucent, C. Opaque. Generally, films are made on a transparent base, whether they are used as negative or a positive, as in the case of motion pictures, color transparencies, and lantern slide. Color sensitivity. Color sensitivity is the color tones in the emulsion of the film, which represent the color of the subject, of which such representation of colors as shade of gray is acceptable. The final image, obtained from black and white negatives emulsion, consists of a series of gray tones varying in the brightness. Ranging from light to dark gray, these tones represent the color of subject. Different emulsion represent subject color with varying degree acceptability. The extent to which this representation of color as shade of gray is acceptable is called the color sensitivity of the film.